YouTube, what's going on? Tonight, we're going to have a discussion about some Oakland legends that's not really talked about much. So I'm going to share the little bit that I know. Feel free to hit the comments and share what you know about these men. Now, in the early 2000s, Mexican Mike's death was a big loss to East Oakland. He was affiliated with NF. Now, while going at it with the notorious Border Brothers, he even tattooed his hate for the gang, even though he understood that everyone can easily come together and eat. But when others start peeking into another person's backyard, that's when the issues begin. It was really about that control in East Oakland. We had different organizations stepping on each other's toes, bodies dropping, robberies, guys playing both sides, guys switching up. You really had all types of stuff going on during that time. Now, we all heard of the big names coming out of Oakland. Michael Moniz was a name that was ringing all through the streets of Oakland. He was a player that was strictly about his business, and he showed love. He showed lots of love. That was just his thing. Now, people ain't know what real money was until they bumped into him. Someone claims to know him said they didn't know he was a big deal until they peeked into his composition book, with those lists of names adding up to millions of dollars. And he was never the type to brag. When you're really holding, you don't have to brag. People do it for you. And people talked about the boats, the parties, the cribs, cars, the women, all of that. And of course, he was the plug. He had his way of doing things. And he would test some people to see if they had the patience and discipline to work with him. When you gain his trust, everything was coming fast. He moved too fast for his own good. In my opinion, many things could have been avoided if he would have just slowed down a little bit. Now, if he liked you and he was rocking with you, he definitely would have showed love. He was taking care of many guys that was sitting, putting thousands of dollars on their books. Many guys met him in jail. I mean, that's how it works. Most people met their plug in jail. And then, when they get home, they get things rocking. As soon as they touch down. When they got home, you know he would bless them. That's how he kept men loyal, so the chances of him getting crossed would be very slim. I mean, that's how it should be. But in the streets, men play by their own rules. That street code everyone talks about doesn't really exist. Rules are meant to be broken. Chances of getting a criminal to follow them, very slim. Now, let's talk about the type of guy Mexican Mike was. Well, he was a guy that had money and knew exactly what to do with it. And of course, he put in a lot of work to be in his position. He didn't just wake up and become the man. But by the time he became the man, he actually had spots with so much money that when you walked in, you could smell the bread. He had many ways to get money. He invested in a couple of legitimate businesses, such as construction, bars. He flipped cars and boats. He wasn't a dummy. He knew he had to approach different lanes when it came to getting money. He was always looking to invest in a business or a friend's business. And it wasn't about color with him either. You know, he didn't care what you looked like. He looked out for everyone. He helped out a lot. And that's why guys didn't mind doing favors when that phone rang. Now, a lot of people had his back because there's times when people got robbed, he made the situation right. He didn't got people's cars back when they got jacked. He paid people debts. He was trying to keep the heat down as much as possible. Now, the true boss calls shots and make things happen, not only for himself, but others. A true leader put others in position to become bosses. But that didn't mean that was his responsibility for you to maintain that position. Guys was messing up opportunities and would get mad at him like it was his fault. Now, one issue with the way he did business is that he was too hands-on with everything. He finds himself in stash spots with hundreds of bricks and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, the true boss should never put himself in that risky position, let alone dangerous position. You have stick-up kids and jack boys that could invade the spots at any moment. Now, imagine the boss being caught in a home invasion. He's lucky he's not taken for ransom, which actually happened to him once before. But yeah, he was around people in places he shouldn't have been, not knowing if anyone knew they were being followed or not. Part of his downfall was him being very generous. And that's very sad because being generous shouldn't be a downfall. But you do have many ungrateful people out here and, people that take kindness for weakness. He had guys that he would meet in the pen and, he would bless them with some product. They would try to run off and, that's how problems would start. He just had, so much people around him that had easy access to him. Usually you would have to go through a couple people to get to the connect, but this wasn't the case. Now, it's been said that his death came from inside his circle. Some say it was about some territory, but that's how it goes. It's part of the game. It's never the enemy. It's always someone close. And then there were the DeLeon brothers, Gallo and Fat Tone, the alleged founders of the Border Brothers before it was some reckless gang. And I mean no disrespect when I say that. Nah, but what I mean is that it was more business oriented before all the havoc. Now, these are two Jingletown legends for sure. Law enforcement had a hard-on for these two individuals. At least they thought they were the biggest pushers in Oakland during the mid-80s and 90s. But you had other figures, so yeah. Now, I did read somewhere that they had over 200 soldiers a part of their organization, which is an impressive number. But just like Mexican Mike, these guys worked with blacks. It was all about green at the end of the day. They was all about their cars, and they had a nice car collection. They helped people out. They helped like many people out also, giving out work on consignment and paying for funerals and all that. Now, these bulls had money and supply that guys were just waiting for them to call for a favor. Guys would just be happy to get their hands dirty. You know, a lot of people that love being around these guys because, one, everything was paid for and you didn't have to come out your pockets. Another reason was these guys was funny as hell. They always kept you laughing. I mean, what fat guy you know that's not funny? Like, every dude I ever met was hilarious. But in 1996, Fat Tone lost his life in West Oakland. Now, some say it was a setup because he was involved in a deal that went left, which is very weird because he was always good money. And these dudes had everything on the menu at unbeatable prices, so how could anything go wrong when you have that? Now, the death of these fellas are a little similar because the streets knew. You heard whispers here and there, but nobody was really saying much. You had men that just, only care about their business. They was only in it for the business part of it. Having to find a new connect, and the fact that they probably wasn't going to get the work at a good price like they used to. They was going to have to pay more. They was more tied into that. And then you had some men like, damn, wishing they would have got front of the large supply before they died, so they didn't have to pay anyone back. It's pretty messed up, but back in the day, you had guys that knew something was about to happen. They would borrow money or ask for a large front so they wouldn't have to pay you back. These were some heavyweights out in Oakland doing their thing over 20 years ago. Hopefully I can grab some more stories and share with y'all. Oakland, stand up. To all my viewers tonight, don't forget to hit that like button and definitely show some love in the comments. I'll be back real soon, so be on the lookout. So y'all be safe out there. Thanks for watching. I'm out.